Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to get a stream in. It won't be what you were quite expecting. It's an editor stream, but you'll see. Let's build some stuff. So once you load into DayZ Editor, first thing we do is going to open Editor and Sakhal. That loads up the map that we're going to work on. Next thing, I need to load the file that I'm going to work with. So I'm just going to file open, and footbridges is the one that I'm adding stuff to. Not sure where footbridge is in, but we don't care about that. And we're going to find the first place that we're going to build stuff on. But these islands have content on them, as does Maine. So here's our first island. We're going to have a quick check, see if there's anything on there of use at the moment, or is it just a bare empty island? Pretty empty to me. We're just moving around the map, checking for anything that's going to cause a problem for what we're about to do. Fine. So we're just going to put a little baby military outpost on here, nothing major, but if people visit, a reason to come here, because at the moment there isn't, and I want to have a reason to come here for people. So, and I like them to be realistic because it's me. So it's an outpost facing out to sea, so it would be covering that sort of angle there. So first of all, let's do a search for military buildings. Looking for military buildings. Can it find it from there? No, so maybe barracks might work. Okay, so this will show us the barracks we can put in. So we're going for a small military observation point, so it's going to have accommodation, so we're going to go for that one. And we're just dragging it onto the map. Evening, Murph. Selecting where we want it, and then I'm going to spin down. So now it's about getting it so it sits to the earth. So we're going to go inside. We've got a rock up there, that doesn't look right. I'm going to right click on the little button there, go to properties. That will bring up the properties of this yellow box, and we can start to change, manipulate, so we can bring it up a little bit there. So if we click OK, it's outside there. We can check inside. Concrete floor's working, but that's quite a step up, so it doesn't look right. We're going to go properties again. That takes it down to there. We can go somewhere between the two. So if that's 23 and that's 22, is this being down in your actual server, or is it solely through DayZ Editor, which is then saved and the file uploaded? Okay, so yeah, so I save this as I output this as a file. I then use DayZ Editor uploader, or whatever it's called. It's a different file that sits on the server, and then I put the file directly in, and it loads it before it loads you guys in playing it. So it's a set. So I save this in Editor and then export it into a file that DayZ understands, basically, and use DayZ Editor Loader to load it onto the server. So again, we're checking inside. We're happy with that. But maybe we can drop it down a little bit, as we were saying. So again, we're going to right click, properties. We know it's that one there. Just see what that does. Does that bring a brick out? A rock out? Yes, it does. Now we can angle it directly to the terrain, but then it'll be at an angle and it will look wrong as well. So up is 23.4, down is 22.9. So if we take it to 22.999, we'll try that. All because I have so many issues with DayZ Editor and placing things. I'm on their Discord and the actual mod has so many bugs. I don't need, yeah. I mean, I'm not brilliant with it. I know people that do amazing things with it. But so if we take that up to 23 now, see where that falls to. So back inside, yeah, that's there. Right click. 23. No, 23.1. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to the point where the rocks aren't there. And I don't know my way fully around it. There's certain things I know how to do. I love playing with Editor. Just need to learn a few of the workarounds. So that's getting better. We're now at just there. I need to come out just a little bit more. Right click, properties. 5.8 maybe. No. So there are another way. Let's try that. Let's take this to there. So that rock is the offending rock. So look at the rock. I think it's hold down shift and middle mouse click. No. Hold down alt middle mouse. No. Control. Yeah, control middle mouse deletes an object in the world. So now take our box, put it back where we want it, and now drop it down. So now we no longer have that rock in the game. And we have our first building in. So that's where the guys that are covering out to sea will live. It's a military camp, so they're out here in the middle of nowhere. They would have dug some sort of well, and it will probably be a normal well, the one that everybody's used to. So we're looking at one of those little pump things. Put that down. I'm happy with that. Again, it's a military camp. It's going to need an armory. So we're looking at some building that would be, if this was real, an armory. No, that's not going to work. We need a military building, small building. So tool shed maybe? So a shed. And we're looking for something small that will feel like it's a little armory shed. That might work. Go. Again, going to come down. Going to sink that into the earth. There it is. I'm just going to pop inside and find the icon for it. So I'm clicking there. I'm taking that up just a little bit. We're just seeing if it's got a floor. So it doesn't have a floor. So that's the first thing to think about here. It is just a shed. So there is no floor. So now it's about leveling it up with the door, so the door will still work. So we know that will work. So now we're going to put something inside the shed. Gun rack? Maybe not gun rack. I know what I want. Ah, there we are. One of them. Yeah. So we're going to come inside the shed. Going to put one of those in. And we're going to then bring that. Let's try and snap that to align to surface. Then snap to surface. So now it feels like it's been placed down. If we want to be really clever, we can take a gun. We can right click on that. We can manipulate this now to be vertical. That's 8-9, 8-9-1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 4. Okay. 5. Okay. So we've got it to there. Now we can angle it. And we need to move it across a little bit. So 8, 3, 3, 3. Let's go to 5 maybe. Now we're going to get that so the butt's out of the floor, because obviously that's not going to work. So properties, we've got to get that higher up. Not that one. That one. Uh, 220, 21. So 21 is in. 219. 8. Butts on the floor. Okay, on that. Now we need to move it in. So this is why placing rifles like this is so time consuming. If it fails, get back on the shotgun and properties there to get that back working again. And try and get where you want it. So we want it just inside. No. And I'm using the mouse wheel on these, so I'm seeing where it's falling to. So I want to get it just past there. It's at 8-9 so far. That takes it to 8-7. So 9-2, 8-7 is too far in. 9-2. So if we come down to maybe 8-9. Okay, so if we go 9.5, 2, 1. That'll do. But the bottom is not working now. If we can get it to do that. Okay, so that model now, that weapon, once this is in game, on each restart, that weapon will be in there. If someone picks it up and uses it, next time on a restart, the weapon will be there ready to use again. And the reason is that we actually put the real weapon in rather than a prop. If we put a prop weapon in, it wouldn't be allowed to be picked up or used. If we put the real weapon in, it can be used. See, other props you can have. You can stick props in of bears that just sit there and growl at you and don't move, which can be quite an interesting scenario. So then that's given us that. So then we need actually a tower, a gun tower, or a guard tower maybe. So we're looking for something that works. See, they're the small ones. That might, if we manipulate it a bit further. So it's got to observe out to there. Let's sink it in. So we've sunk it into the earth a little bit. So they've got their observation area. As I said, it's a very small camp. And then we're going to have to put a fence around it. No, fence even. Sandbags are quite good. Sandbag corners. That might work quite well for this. We can do some weird things with sandbags or anything. So if we right click now and go into properties and say, actually, we want this to be bigger. So it's scale 1. Let's go to scale 2. Scale 3. So it's a bigger object. But it feels like a more sort of substantive wall. Because we're now showing things off, and I'm probably not going to save this because I'm not going to save anything to show off what I don't want to show people. One of the most interesting things you can play with is the Livonia underground bunker. I want the entrance door because that makes the panel levers are fun, but we want so if you've got the entrance there, forget that we've put this, we're going to delete these anyway. So that's your entrance to your Livonia bunker. At the moment that door can't be opened. But if you place that item there on anywhere on the outer wall, it will then take the Livonia swipe card and that door will open. Or you can put the lever version on that doesn't need the swipe card. Then when you hit those buttons, that door will then open in game, and there's a mounting place for it just there. And then you can put the other one on the inside, choose wherever you want to. That's sort of where it will fit normally and then fit into the wiring. And that's your exit. We'll make the door open again. And the door will automatically open and then close a few minutes later. So you can build your own bunker or a secure compound within the game. Because if you put anything in that you don't like, just grab the items, delete them. They're gone. That's the basics of Editor. People are much better at this than me. That's deletion. We've deleted something there. So let's put that item back in, because I don't want to delete it. So one of the things I was doing the other day was building little... We go file open, because my version of this server is a lot harder than vanilla, so you can't get out to the islands by swimming. So what I've put in for players are a method of getting out. Still, we can find something. So you can get some distance by swimming, just not all the way anywhere. So we're just going to go along until I can find myself a footbridge. I won't be able to find any now, let's be honest. I'm out here. Okay, so my footbridges are... probably somewhere around here somewhere. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. I think. No, Looked like there was one. It's annoying when you can't find anything that you're looking for. There's a footbridge. So that's me putting that in. So if a player's on here on the island and they're leaving, they can get to the first bit without getting wet. Then they have to swim and get wet. Then they can light a fire. Then they can make all their way across to about here somewhere. And then they're going to get wet again. So they've got a chance of making it to and fro, but they've got to find those footbridges themselves. And this is shouting at me some sort of military installation on it at some point. Yeah? There'll be something on here. If you zooming around the map, hold down shift, moves you a little bit quicker. And if you press the middle mouse button, you'll zoom forward. So one of the things I'd like to do is find a way of making the volcano actually feel like a volcano that's active rather than what it is currently. Now we do have items down here that have smoke coming out of them. So if we get in nice and close. We've got rock lava. So there's things here with the word lava in. If it wasn't snowing, this would be a lot easier to work with. Can we change the weather on here? Toggle light? Probably, and I don't know how. That's the trouble. View. There'll be a way. So my ultimate aim is to find a way of getting proper lava flows in there that's then dangerous to get near. And I know how to build events, so I've already worked that out. But what I've got to do is find a way of getting something else in there, because it's a great location, but nothing's been done with it. And in my head, something has to be done with it. Just don't know what yet. See, we could use... Okay, so bonfire. A bonfire in here isn't going to work. We know that. But if you take the bonfire and sink it underground, get just the right height on it, that will now have smoke coming out. So that's manipulating the game code to give you what you want. And if you filled the whole of the basement with it, or the whole of the base of the volcano with it, you'd have smoke and fire happening everywhere. And you could replicate that right round here. Or, let's be honest about this, do something like that. but make it big enough so it covers the whole of the floor with what looks like molten rock. So you're manipulating the code. So let's try and get to the center of here. Try and find the bit that allows me to move it. Because we know we don't want a burning effigy that big lying here. Out there's the center. Bring that up. So we can still find the bit that we're going to use to manipulate. So bring it right out of the place. Then we're going to make it bigger. Then we could move it to where we want it. About there. And then sink it in. So that hat could work. You're going to take that down into the volcano itself. Swing it at a different angle, really, don't I? I want to swing it. I want to tip it, basically. There we go. It's not exactly where you'd want it, but you know what I mean? We could then, by making it bigger, we could get to the point where you'd completely filled up the bottom of the volcano with what looks like burning ash. Then you could reposition the little rocks that are letting out the poison around the outside of it, and arguably underneath the hat, because it's not a hat anymore, you're using it as lava, and then you could place a loot crate right in the middle. Yeah. Other ways of generating smoke. Delete that. Let's delete that. Are wreck. So, Helirex. Has smoke off it. So, if you put it there, now that will spawn loot in. If you don't want the loot, put your heli underground. Now it's got smoke coming out and no loot for people to pick up. You could go in there and delete the loot points as well, but that's a really simple, ugly way of doing it. So suddenly it looks a bit more like a volcano should. So if we had the red thing glowing in the middle, and then we had smoke trails coming out of the place, and maybe manipulated some red stuff to look like a lava flow coming over the top and coming a little way down the mountain, suddenly you could have it looking a lot more like it should. And you've got an area there. You could come down over there with a lava flow, maybe down here through this, and have it ending down here somewhere. Somewhere down here you've got huts, haven't you? You've got scientific huts. So maybe what you'd want to do is find some way that are linked to the actual in-game stuff. So you want to find your scientific huts if you can. And then link your lava flow to come down from there. So what you're doing is you're drawing players. So players get to the huts because that's part of the lore, and then they see a lava flow that they wouldn't be normally used to. They'll follow it. And you take them up the mountain to an event, something that you've structured to be there. So you're making them go where you want them to go. For me, because I build PvP maps, I'm trying to channel players to killing grounds. So something like this would be getting them up to have a look at it and having players coming from multiple directions and potentially having some loot here that players needed. So there's your smoke. Dealt with easily. Delete that. Gone. It'll take a few seconds to update. And then the smoke will disappear. There we go. Gone. But you could put helicopters right around the outside of that. Stick your lava in the mid side. It would take a bit of work. A couple of hours to make it look good. But you'd have a volcano on this map that worked. So then let's find something else. So you could use this stuff. So if you go over it, click on it, and you're looking for what it's called. So that's called Object Land Geoplant. And if this has got an object, it's land, it might not have anything come out. No, that's got nothing for me to work with. That's just terrain. So I can't do anything with that I know of. Something else I wanted to look at and see, because I don't know whether this will work or not. Something I've been thinking about doing. We need to get to the land bridge. There's the airfield. Right. That way, that way. There's the land bridge. Comes across there. Down there. That's what I wanted to look at. And of course, this would all work to a certain degree depending on how you export it. You could get this working on Xbox as well, if you don't use builder items. Now, I want to know whether this object here is one solid object. So it's land, pier, crane, submarine. So if we search for land here. Crane submarine, that one there. Favourite that. Let's. Could we use that elsewhere in the game as a submarine, as a oil platform? Is my question. So if it was there, we sunk that in. Like that. And then put that out to sea. Could that become a very easy oil rig? Well, it could, couldn't it? And you've got two buildings in there. You've got stuff suspended in the middle. And then you could have an event that spawned loot crate inside a box inside, where are we? That building. Not overly difficult to do. And you can do that in vanilla. Now suddenly we've got access then to an item that would make an oil rig. If you put a platform over it, some of these pieces, you could then put some structures on it and we could spawn loot on there as well, like normal loot. Probably couldn't get zombies on there without a bit of manipulation, but that would give us the ability of having an oil rig. So oil rig should be out to sea. So let's put it somewhere that's sort of out to sea so we can just see if it works. Somewhere like that. I'm going to sink it down. Make sure there's a way on that isn't completely flooding it. There's an oil rig platform that could be set up easily in vanilla DayZ. All you're using is an asset it's already got. I could put this on Chernarus or Livonia, wouldn't be a problem. So it's in the files now as an asset. You took something like, show you what you could do with it. Castle. That doesn't work. Delete that. Silage. So I want something that I can use as a flat wall to build over. So you'd be looking for something that you could put to fill up that gap in the middle. And then you could put some barracks on there and things. A well. Some loot rooms. Some weapon spawns. Maybe a downed helicopter that's spitting out loot. That's burning. And suddenly you've got a very easy to place oil rig in game. that's about it, really, guys. All we wanted to look at tonight, because people have been asking for some DayZ Editor stuff. So there's a quick 40 minutes of DayZ Editor. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show you what I'm going to do because I want players to come onto this server to play it. The server's already live. It's still already up there. You find it by searching for Goblin Z or Goblin Z. The server itself is my hardcore take on this map. So it's a lot colder. There's a lot less loot. It's harder to survive. The zombies really want to kill you rather than just sort of want to kill you. Just staying warm is an achievement before you even start looting. You can base build, you can raid. But getting to that point is difficult. So that will be it for tonight, guys. I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.